Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Guido Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And the fact that I was able to give that intro with the full volume means my computer works again. Hooray!
Woo!
Just in time
Computers.
to discuss Mass Effect 2. We're in the future, y'all. And the future is a person named Shepard saving the world from space robots. Joining me, as always, to discuss all things video game, Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Hey, how's it going? Excited to talk games. Something just occurred to me, too. I'm excited to bring it up and cause calamity, hopefully, later on. But this week's fun fact is about birds.
No, it isn't.
Yay!
No, it isn't.
Whoa.
It's not
No, it
about
isn't.
birds.
Get out of here.
That's the mistress of games, Game Maker M.
Hello.
M. Palladino breaking in. What's up? What's up, Em?
I've learned a fun fact, and I'm not
What?
gonna let this one slide. This one's too important.
Unprecedented.
Yes. I learned this when I was watching episode of How It's Made in like an interstitial 30-second thing in between showing me like products being constructed. They just dropped this little fact. Scientists have bred goats that produce spider silk.
From where?
I'll tell you. They found that they needed a lot of spider silk in order to make stuff like
Giant mecha spiders?
well, yeah, obviously. It's used for like bulletproof vests and things like that. But,
Violence.
yeah, because it's so strong. But spiders are territorial, and they'll kill each other if they are like left in farms. And so they needed a way to make spider silk without having like a huge number of spiders. So they took the gene that makes silk and they put it into the goats, and it made it so the protein in their milk instead makes like spider silk.
That is horrifying.
Yeah, right? That's crazy.
The spider silk comes from the boobies, Pete.
Yeah, exactly.
That is terrifying.
Yes. Now you see why I had to interrupt you in order to tell you this.
No, I appreciate it. That was a good interjection. It was far better than my fun fact was going to be.
What a non sequitur from How It's Made.
Yeah, I know,
how would they
right?
just put that out there in the middle of your show? You were just bored.
I had to look this up immediately. I paused the show and I was like, hold on. Is that true?
It's like, let's just add some goat body horror
Yeah.
in the middle of this widget factory.
Some
Of-
scientist was like, we've got two options. One, we can get a dozen abandoned sheds
Mhm.
and then harvest the spider silk from each of them. Or,
And they'll
we
murder each other the whole time we're doing it.
well, that's why you need a dozen abandoned sheds,
Yes.
so they have enough space.
Just spread
Exactly.
them out.
50 abandoned sheds.
Why
Or
goats?
we
I don't
genetically
know.
engineer goats. Because cows were too hard? I don't know. Goats are smaller?
This is a
I do
very
know it's
short
very hard to milk
article.
pigs.
Yeah. Is it?
It is.
It's very funny. Oh man, I'm just imagining if they had genetically engineered like ants or something. What if they just genetically engineered a different bug that was social instead of one that was territorial? No, you know what? Fine.
But they don't like do ants excrete anything? Like I'm sure they excrete things, obviously. but,
They
like,
excrete things.
They don't make milk.
This ant just pisses spider silk now.
In the future, the scientists plan to incorporate the silk genes into alfalfa plants, which they say could produce even
Sure.
larger quantities of silk.
Why not?
I don't know.
That's fine.
It's about the protein, I guess. They like bond it to the protein and then they like purify the milk and it makes spider silk proteins.
Pretty soon just everything's going to be spider silk.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm just imagining some sort of creature with spider webs for arms. It's just like we've gone too far. All right. Well, thanks for that, Em.
You're
Thanks for making it so I
welcome.
can't sleep tonight. Awesome. Well, before we discuss Mass Effect 2, our normal housekeeping, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens, and we are still imploring people to support the National Network of Abortion Funds if you are in a position to do so. For those who support the Patreon, it gets you access to the Discord. We are also very close to having to play Sonic 06. So you could be the person who does that to us if you so choose. We don't need that many more patrons to make us play Sonic 06. You also get to put your a game into the slush fund for the Off the Deep End people. If you want to afflict whatever pocket RPG you've got in your, your filthy recesses on ZP, Jeff, and Arbitrary Water, please do support the Patreon so you can make them play. I don't know. What's a bad RPG, M? Name one.
I Mass Effect 1? I don't know.
Radiant Historia. That sounds
Okay.
like that. I don't know if
That's what
that's
you were
any
going
good.
for.
I was thinking more obscure. I feel like they would be insulted if someone tried to give them a Mass Effect game.
I
Like,
thought
don't
they
you
wanted
know?
to play like one of the Dragon Ages at least. Didn't they have a claim on that?
The only Mass Effect they want to play is Andromeda.
Oh, okay. Well, they can have that.
Exactly. Yeah, so go ahead, support the Patreon. It'll get you access to the Discord and those other things I just said. And if you were to get access to the Discord, you might end up on the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This week on the Discord. I don't know. What's going on? What's going on with Discord this week? Let's see.
Well, everyone helped me build my computer. That
Oh
was
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I didn't participate in that.
I streamed to the Discord my process of putting together the computer, which was fun. That was a pretty straightforward process. Thanks to the help from folks from the Discord. Thank you, Justin, specifically, who was very helpful. No thank you to ZP, who did not help at all.
Did he actively make it worse?
Not actively. I mean, it was largely a stream of people telling me how to do things, and then he showed up and things got weird. Which, that's fine. He helped here and there. But yeah, that was very fun. What else has gone on in the Discord recently? People continue to play Marvel Snap, and that's unfortunate.
I broke my habit.
Yay!
I'm out.
Good work.
I don't know. I didn't play pretty much any of this season, and now it's too late. I'm off to Arknights now, which is maybe worse.
One thing that happened that is Discord related is we're apparently the number 9 video game podcast in Venezuela.
Yay!
Now?
The whole plan's coming together.
Somehow, as of like today, when I checked, we were the 90th biggest podcast in Venezuela. So
It's a pretty big country.
It is. If you are one of our apparently dozens of Venezuelan listeners, buenos dias.
Hola.
Lo siento.
Que nada.
Sorry we don't speak Spanish, but apparently that's not a big deal for you. So thanks. So that was something that I feel is Discord related that was worth mentioning. And in the basketball zone, a lot of beam team stuff has been happening because the Kings continue to win. And we can't. ZP's had nice things now, and he's got a taste for blood.
It's okay. He can want blood as much as he wants. He's not going to win the league.
That's true.
The beam is super cool, though. Props
It
to
is.
whoever in the marketing department came up with that.
Yeah, whoever went to the Luxor one time in Las Vegas and said we should do that to our city in California. Em, do you want to talk about the food criminal, the wanted food
Oh
criminal
yeah,
tag that we have
should
on the Discord
we
now?
should talk about. It was kind of mean. Uh, during
Was
a.
it?
It was kind of mean. It might be a little mean spirited. I think ZP took it a little hard. Yeah. So in the Discord, we have our food channel, and some people were getting a little too rowdy with it. And so I had to bring the hammer down, and I made a food criminal, a wanted food criminal tag that makes your username a very gross green. That's the only thing that it inflicts upon you.
That's all it does. Is
Yeah.
it makes your
Fate worse than
username
death.
green?
Yes. It also separates you from the other members of the member list. So you will.
Yeah, if you go to the member list, it just says wanted food criminal and then you.
Yes. Currently, there is no one in that role because they threatened much worse behavior if they continue to have that on them. So it was intended for ZP, but it could be wielded against anyone.
We've used it on other people. I think
Yes.
we have assigned someone else to the
Yes.
list of wanted food criminal for a weekend. So just so you know, potential future members of the Discord, we protect the sanctity of the Discord. We will name and shame people who are making the place grosser with our tag.
But
fucking salsa marinara sauce. What the hell?
we're trying our best not to have to use that, but if you force us to,
We will.
we will. Christopher.
Yep. And other people who have ideas.
And other people. Not just ZP.
Yes. But mostly.
But mostly.
So yeah, that's what's going on in the Discord. For my shout out of the week, my obsession of the week, I watched all of Agent Elvis. Are either of you aware of
Really?
this show?
I saw the trailer on Netflix and I was like, this is
Not
thing?
for me.
Okay, so do you know the premise?
I know Matthew McConaughey voices Secret Agent Elvis.
What?
Yes.
That's all I got.
So Priscilla Presley wrote or created this show about her ex-husband, Elvis Presley, achieving his lifelong goal of becoming a secret agent.
Yeah, he really wanted to be in law enforcement. It was weird.
Really?
Yes.
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 Like a
So-
lot.
So they, I believe, worked with the people who made Archer to make Elvis,
Right.
like Archer, but Elvis, basically. So they've got Elvis going around like doing his late 60s, early 70s stuff. So like his Christmas
So
special.
like a whole bunch of pills?
They've so far left out the pills.
Interesting choice.
So far, it's mostly his Christmas special and his Hawaiian concert and like going to play for the troops and stuff like that. But in his spare time, he's been enlisted in TCB, the Central Bureau, which is a like shadowy spy agency. And his best friend Bobby Ray is voiced by Johnny Knoxville. The secret agent who like is assigned as his handler is voiced by Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She plays Dee, and It's Always Sunny. The head of the bureau is voiced by Don Cheadle.
How did they get this cast?
It's a really good cast.
Is the show good?
It's solid. It's a solid, like if you wanted more Archer sort of stuff.
Okay.
It's like that. I mean, it mostly follows Elvis is a square in the whole show, which I find very funny. That he's probably the least interesting character in the show. The art style's really good. It looks like there's only one show I've ever seen that looks like it. It was one of the like miniseries from I think Death, Love, and Robots, that miniseries that Netflix did.
Mhm.
One of their mini-sode Zima Blue looks like this show, so I assume it was the same animation studio. But it looks really cool. The voice actors are quite good. The plots are pretty good. I like Elvis's pet chimpanzee Scatter and all of his shenanigans doing cocaine. They have Jason Mantzoukas playing Howard Hughes. He's the gadget guy.
Howard Hughes is the gadget guy?
He's the gadget guy for the secret
This is
agency.
a weird show.
It is a weird show. There's a lot of historical figures in this show. And it's pretty good. It's a short watch. It's only 10 episodes. Also, Priscilla Presley voices herself, which is also really weird. So yeah, I would recommend it. It's a fun watch. It's only 10 episodes and they're only like 30 minutes. So it's a short commitment, but I would check it out. It's a fun time. I would say watch at least the first 2 episodes. If you don't like the second episode, you're probably not going to like it. I think the first episode's a little slow because they have to do setup stuff and Elvis just doing vigilante violence. But I do enjoy him doing kung fu and karate. Then he's got a golden gun.
Did you mention the fact that he's working for Richard Nixon?
Richard Nixon's in an episode. He does not work for Richard Nixon.
All right. It looks like he's hanging out with him in the trailer I'm watching.
That happened.
Yeah, so the trailer so like almost all of the stuff in the show is from the history of Elvis and stuff he actually did, but then they had like, and this is what was really going on with that. So like they give a like backstory to why he was hanging out with Nixon, and then spoilers, he doesn't like Nixon very much in the show's telling of it. But yeah, it's a fun watch, I would say, at the very least. They like try to give an explanation for why Howard Hughes has long fingernails and pees in jars. If you wanted to know the canonical reason why he does that. Jason Mantzoukas is very good in this show, as he is in every show. So yeah, check it out. Agent Elvis. It's pretty good. It's a short commitment. All right, without further ado, let's discuss Mass Effect 2.
Let's do it.
We happy few played all of this. Us crew. I ran out of rhymes. Okay, tell us what the game is and what it's about.
So Mass Effect 2 is the continuation of BioWare's Mass Effect series that we actually played the first one of, a uncommon occurrence on Deep Listens. In Mass Effect 2, you're Shepard, the savior of the galaxy.
Can I
Yes.
Can I derail things already?
All right.
Damn it. Sure.
I know. Sorry. Here's what I wanted to talk about. Do you think Shepard, Savior of the Galaxy, is a Jesus reference?
Have you played the third game?
Yeah. Have you? Do you know
I believe so.
Do you know the twist at the end of the third game?
I've already forgotten it completely.
Yes, Pete.
Yes.
I do think that's the case.
Okay, good. All right, cool. We can move on.
I think with 100% certainty that is the case.
Excellent. I'm glad I have such astute insights.
You mean specifically the fact that Shepard is named Shepard?
Yes.
Yes, it is almost certainly. Where the heck? All right.
You said Shepard. You are Shepard.
I said you are Shepard, and then immediately got cut off. You are Shepard. In the beginning of Mass Effect 2, you are wrapping up stuff from Mass Effect 1 by rooting out like Geth, and then your ship gets exploded by a ship you do not know, and you die. End of game.
You
Good game.
You choke out in the vacuum of space.
Yeah.
No sequels.
No
and
sequels.
Then fall through an atmosphere and crash onto a planet.
Yeah.
You're super dead.
You're very dead. Unfortunately, there are sci-fi things that we can do for that. You are revived over the course of 2 years by a shadowy organization known as Cerberus, who want you to investigate why whole colonies are going missing across human space. And you need to get your team back together because you've been dead for 2 years, and they all got tossed out to the wayside, and some of them are happy to see you, some of them are not so happy to see you. And we're gonna blow up some space bugs along the way. That's Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, a different type of space bugs than the ones we blew up in the first game.
They weren't bugs.
The Rachni.
Oh, right. I forgot about them.
Yeah, so we each continued. I think how did we do this? Pete, did you continue your save from the last time we played?
No.
No? Okay.
My save from the last time we played, like how long ago was this?
4 or
I don't
5
know where
years
that
ago.
is. Yeah, it's gone forever.
So, Em, what about you?
I didn't.
I don't think you were on the show. You weren't on the show.
I have saves from this game. Like I've played this game probably like 6 times at this point. And I never remember where I actually had played it last, so I just started a new file on my PS4.
Nice. Yeah, I started a new file. Well, I first did do a continuation from my Xbox 360 file, from my Mass Effect 1 file, but the load times and resolution of this game on a 360 were untenable since I had access to I have PS Plus, so I had access to the Mass Effect trilogy from that. And I was like, well, I already have the new version. I want to see what it's like on an SSD. And yeah, I mean, the load times were 1/3, 1/4 as long, and I just jumped ship at that point. So what was our Shepard's background at the beginning? Fem Shep, male Shep, Paragon Renegade. What were we doing? Pete, what was your person?
I went classic action hero. Square jawed, no nonsense. So I have male Shepherd, Paragon, and I made him a soldier.
What are the options in the beginning?
Male or female, super renegade, super paragon, or something in between. You can.
What's the
the jobs
starting? Yeah.
So there's soldier, which is the all combat class. There's engineer, which is the all tech class. Adept, which is the all biotics class.
Yes.
Then you have the hybrid classes. So biotics plus guns is Vanguard. And tech plus guns is Infiltrator, and biotics plus tech is Sentinel.
I think I did the Sentinel because
that's good.
I usually do biotics for these playthroughs.
Got no patience for biotics. Sneaky, cowardly.
It's not the actual sneaking class, which is Infiltrator.
That's a good point. That's even sneakier.
For sure. What was your Shepherd background? Male Shep, female Shep, Renegade, Paragon?
Female Shep, are you insane?
I felt I should ask.
Yeah. This is the game that canonically has female Shepherd as the one on the cover. You gotta play as the female Shepherd.
And
my
which
experience.
I mean, I think it's the better choice, but
yes. Jennifer Hale. Can't go wrong with Jennifer Hale.
That's true. Which Paragon or Renegade?
I mean, it changes over the course of the game. I think I start as a Paragon and then get a little bit of Renegade, but not too much. There are only small choices that go full Renegade.
I unfortunately also, Pete, did Soldier and Paragon, and my generic Shep, I did make him look terrible. I crapped him up real bad. I tried to make Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but hideous.
I can't imagine that being good looking in this character creator.
I made his eyes as big as I possibly could and put them as close to his eyebrows as I possibly could. And made them as close to each other as I possibly could.
I see.
But you can make a character with very severe cheekbones, like Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Just like full buccal fat remover.
Yep, and you can also you can give bleach blonde hair really easy. Bleach blonde eyebrows.
This is a game that is very easy to make something horrifying in. Very difficult to make something good looking as far as your Shepherd goes.
Yeah, you need to go with the default male Shep if you want someone who looks like a human being, because that's a face scan of a model.
Hmm.
But like all other versions, Fem Shep, all other male Sheps look like, I mean, it's just Monster Factory.
Yep. This is the
Um,
classic Monster Factory episode where they make Truck Shepherd. Uh,
yes, Chuck Shepherd.
Definitely worth watching. Go look that
Yes.
up right now. Pause the show.
And I also, I think I forget what my shepherd's name is. I want to say Stabathan.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, so I picked a soldier this time because I have played almost every other job in Mass Effect 2. I've never ever in any Mass Effect game played soldier, so I figured I'd try it. And turns out I liked soldier a lot.
Yeah, it's just shooting McGuns.
I mean, this game is just much Mass Effect 1 was. And
Wait.
you can really tell in the way that tech and biotics are utilized in the game. So, like, if you use a tech or biotic ability, Shepard, like, shoots a blast out of their hand, and that blast will travel, and then you can, like, curve it around walls or, like, curve it over cover. But you have to shoot it, and it's a physical thing. If you just call on an ally to do it, the attack just goes line of sight off of Shepard. So if you're just a gun person, you don't have to deal with all that nonsense of like throwing the, blasts at the right angle to do stuff. You can just shoot guns and then have the best biotic and tech abilities just come from your allies. Did y'all find a similar experience though? Em, I guess you played a pretty different thing. You were all tech, all biotics.
I like
What
doing
guns
that.
do you even get?
What? Which one was it? Hold on a
I
sec.
know you have a pistol. Do you have like a shotgun or an SMG?
I mean, I usually use the sniper rifle, but I don't think that comes
Okay.
with the. Is it the Sentinel? I don't know if it's the Sentinel.
That might be the infiltrator.
Yeah.
The Infiltrator has the sniper rifle. The Vanguard has a shotgun.
Hmm.
I don't know what the hell the Sentinel gets. I think it's like an SMG and a pistol. Like it's bad. They're bad guns.
Yeah, Sentinel gets. This is a very useless wiki. It doesn't explain anything.
Awesome.
I just did the biotics most of the time, and then I had my sniper rifle. That was good enough for me, and then pistols when things got closer.
And then I think Sentinel, your special ability is you get tech armor, right? Or what is your
Yes?
special move?
I'm doubting myself. Hold on, let me look at this.
Because for soldiers, you get bullet time.
Hmm. It had
So
to
you
have
can
been
slow-
Vanguard, I guess, because that was the biotics and shooting.
Okay, so if you were a Vanguard, then you were teleporting at people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Hmm.
I like Vanguard a lot. Okay, so I mean the shooting much better in this game than Mass Effect 1. We
Oh,
played
yeah.
Mass Effect 1 a while ago, but like this is a proper shooter. In a way that
Did-
Mass Effect 1 is not.
Did you play the was it Legendary Edition?
I did.
Okay. Because
I did as well.
it changes a little bit. It's better. It's better. They took stuff from the third one and we're like, why don't we just put it in all of them? The cover is not as clunky as it was in. I don't even think you had cover in one.
You kind of did, but it wasn't. It
You did-
wasn't like
You didn't like
chest high
snap.
walls.
Yeah, you didn't snap to it in the same way as you do in this one. Feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, the cover in 1 was definitely a little bit shaky, let's say. But yeah, in 2 I think they give you ammo for the first thing. Like Mass Effect 1, it was no ammo. All guns had cooldowns. The more you shot, the more the gun would overheat. And once it overheated, you had to stop shooting. In 2, it's just ammo, and you have to reload. Which, it plays more like a regular shooter instead of a weird RPG. It also turns powers into, I mean, they were already on cooldowns, but now there's just one unified cooldown instead of each of your powers having cooldowns like they did in 1. Instead of having quite so many things to upgrade, there's basically just upgrading your 4 or 5 attacks that you can do, and that's all you really need to care about. There are less passives that are like going on. And they make up for that by giving you way more party members. In 1, there are only 5 party members, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Garrus,
Not many.
Tali, the 2 humans, Rex. That's it, right?
I think so.
Oh, and Liara. There are 6.
Yes.
But by the end of the game, there are 5. And then in this game, they give you, what, like 10?
9?
12.
9 or 10? It's
12.
12 if you
12
have the
with the
DLCs.
DLC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So each of us, did we all play the Legendary Edition?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay, so if we all played the Legendary Edition, then we all had all the DLC. When we originally played this game, did you have all of the DLC?
Most
Like
of
when
them?
Okay. Because, Pete, did you play this game with all the DLC when you first played it?
I never played this game before.
Oh,
Oh.
wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, first
Excited.
time.
Okay, I will have to go back to that. No, because what I was going to say is that when I first played this game, I didn't get all the DLC. I got some of it. I got like whatever was the cheapest and when stuff went on sale. So there's DLC here I never saw, and I don't think I ever got Kasumi. Like I got Zaid.
Oh,
who's,
man. You're missing
Yeah,
out.
I missed out on the better
Yes.
half character.
Yeah, Zaid kind of sucks.
Oh, he sucks. He's terrible. And then
Yeah.
Kasumi's pretty fun.
I like
Wow.
her.
So Pete, what was your impression of this game then? You didn't even have all the memories, the sweet memories.
Right. So I had 2 big thoughts about this game. We can discuss them both. The first one is that this game is basically like an Ocean's 11, let's get the whole team together montage stretched to, I don't know, let's say 25 hours. Like that's the game, is you getting the squad together. My second thought was this game is basically just a bridge to Mass Effect 3. Like the story, meh, whatever. It's basically just set up to say, hey, like the end's coming.
Yeah, that was how they sold the game too. Like,
Correct.
during marketing was, hey, this is Ocean's 11, get the team together, suicide mission thing. And then, yeah, the story was, we need to create an enemy who you need to kill because it's the Dark Middle chapter. And they kept talking about how it was the Dark Middle chapter. This is Empire Strikes Back, man.
I never realized, I guess maybe I didn't notice this in the third one as much, how similar the villains in Mass Effect are to the Flood.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like more or less the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's capture people, turn them into your thing, destroy everything.
Which are also similar to the Borg, which are also similar.
Yeah, I guess it's all body snatchers, really. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on the Flood.
Yeah, I mean, the number of sci-fi body snatcher villains, it's high. It's a concept that's used quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a popular trope.
Yeah. So, to start the game off, I feel like mechanically, it's a cover shooter. It plays like Gears of War. It plays like all the games that came out in the late aughts and early 2010s. It's much more competent in its shooting than those games, than the previous Mass Effect, but it's not remarkable. It's just pretty capable. You've still got the leveling. You've still got the Paragon Renegade system. Just like in Mass Effect 1, if you're a centrist, this game will punish you violently. You want to commit. You want to be all the way a space racist or all the way a space savior.
Although, see,
Yep.
I was going to say that this game is also the please everyone game, because if you do not side with everyone on your squad and get all their loyalty up, something will go horribly wrong and they will die in the final mission. So you want to be like as centrist as possible, like when people are having fights in your ship, but also like do their loyalty missions the whole way through.
Yeah. You want to
Also,
tell?
like,
Oh, go ahead.
There's no penalty, right? Like you never run out of time.
You
So-
kind of have a timer. We'll get to
Do
it.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's kind of a timer. So, like, in terms of what you said, Em,
Easy.
there are you definitely want to tell all of your squad members exactly what they want to hear.
Yep.
all the time.
Yep.
And if you tell a squad member of the opposite sex what they want to hear, eventually they will come on to you.
And it could kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who it is, yeah. So that's always awkward. But when you have choices that are either top right or bottom right, or top left or bottom left, because that's where the Paragon and Renegade options, they are always in the same locations on the wheel. You always want to pick, if you've got a special option that is blue or red because you've got enough Paragon or Renegade points, you always want to choose that because it will give you more Paragon and Renegade points and will always like achieve whatever goal you want. And if you split your points between the two, Paragon and Renegade, you will just not have access to the high level Paragon and Renegade dialogue options, which will lead to you just like accidentally not being able to progress the game, or like you don't get stuck, but like you'll get a bad outcome because you didn't stick to one mode of operating, I guess. Either you're a renegade cop who doesn't respect the rules, or you're a goody two shoes. And if you do anything, if you try to walk the middle, you will end up unable to get good outcomes when you want them. Like when you said people are fighting on the ship, if you haven't been maximally Paragon or maximally Renegade, you will not be able to settle those disputes.
You will have to fuck up your relationship with one of those characters, and that could be terrible.
For sure. Yeah. So like that's obviously not. It's a flawed design. It's a flawed design that follows all of the Mass Effect games. It's most of the BioWare games, in fact, do this sort of thing, and it sucks that like you can't make choices based on what you think is best in the moment. You basically need to top off one of the two, either Paragon or Renegade, and then once you top it off, then you can do whatever you want from then on. Like, but if you don't have one of those all the way maxed out, you're just not going to have the option to do the best dialogue options in any given situation.
This is one of the benefits of transferring a save over, is that it comes with like X amount of extra choices that you made across the game, and that will affect the amount of Paragon or Renegade points that you go into it with. So you will be far, like, much further along than if you did not input a save.
And if you input a save, you also get like resources as well. You'll start with
Yes.
experience. You'll start with money. You'll start with palladium and all that fun stuff. Oh boy,
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
surprised
talk about
that the legend. Yeah, so the legend. One of the other mechanics this game has is resource gathering. Do we want to talk about resource gathering yet, or do we want to talk about the rocks paper scissors armor system that this game? That's kind of the only thing the game really has outside of just shooting.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I
There's
wanna...
rocks paper scissors like armor, shields, and barrier.
It is
and
so uninteresting.
Different powers deal more damage to each of the types. That's it.
Honestly, yeah, I just shot until they went away, mostly.
Let's talk about the resource gathering.
Scanning. Yeah,
I have a theory about this.
Go ahead. What is your theory?
I think this was just to make a probing Uranus joke. I think the whole system was just a setup so they would be able to do that. That's my theory. I base this on nothing. Did you do that?
I didn't go to Uranus.
Oh, well, if you do and you probe it, Edie will say something to the effect of, like, really, Shepard? You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Okay, I'll go back in. I'll load the game back up so I can probe Uranus.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a whole crafting system. There are 4 elements you can get from planets. Element 0, iridium, palladium, and platinum. And you want to get those elements from planets because they allow you to unlock research projects that will upgrade your weapons or unlock new weapons. It'll also be really important for making it so that you can survive the suicide mission at the end of the game, because you have to unlock certain equipment so that you don't die at the end of the game. So yeah, that's a lot of what you wasted a lot of time in the original game doing this, because in the Legendary Edition they I think doubled or tripled the speed of the icon for like for scanning. Like your
It was
cursor moves
faster, wasn't
faster.
it? I didn't know that.
Yes. I played both versions. It is a lot faster.
Yeah, I felt like it was faster than I experienced originally, but I couldn't prove it.
Yeah, it is significantly faster. It is faster than what the upgraded speed is in the first game, because you eventually get the ability to upgrade the speed of the scanner.
Mhm.
And if you upgrade the speed of the scanner in Legendary Edition, it's even faster. So like, it doesn't make it super exciting. Like, Pete, how would you describe scanning?
Probably the least exciting thing after combat and hacking minigames.
Ah, come on, you didn't like connecting the dots?
I like this hacking minigame.
That's what I'm saying. It was fighting 1, hacking
Yeah.
minigames 2, scanning 3.
Scanning 3.
I like the hacking minigames.
Are there any other systems in this game that we're forgetting about?
I mean, you can buy stuff from vendors. There's a lot of dialogue
Boring.
stuff, but I mean, most of the game is just finding a person, recruiting them to your team, talking them up enough until they'll give you their loyalty mission, and then going on the loyalty mission.
Hmm.
Pretty much, yeah. And then smooching them later if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you so choose. So before we go into all of the characters, I feel like we should just talk about the setup real quick. Like, obviously, Shepard dies. You get recruited by Cerberus, this human terrorist organization. Well, human supremacist organization.
Yeah, human supremacist, I think is the way they describe them in the game.
Yeah, from the first game. They're in one very easily missable mission from the first game. The Mass Effect series has a long-running tradition of having a setup for a major plot point in a subsequent game be a throwaway thing that you could just easily miss from the previous game. But Cerberus, they find Shepard's corpse, and they bring Shepard back using dark science over the course of 2 years, which raises the question, Pete, is Shepard... Can we consider Shepard Shepard? Is Shepard the ship of... Is it the ship of Shepard?
I would love to talk about the ship of Theseus, Gino.
The Shepherd of Theseus.
The Shepherd of Theseus. It's actually very interesting because Shepard's a person, which raises its own unique challenges when it comes to the ship of Theseus.
And cut.
Well, I'm glad we got that and figured it out. I'm glad we got the answer to that question, Pete. Way to go.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, this has been a 3,000 just about year-old philosophical mystery. I'm glad we finally put it to bed today.
Yeah, I'm glad we did. You know, we're all just a mote of dust on the end of a needle when you think about it. But, you know, even us small, tiny beings can solve big problems sometime. Next time, we'll solve the trolley problem.
Love it.
Once and for all.
No more trolleys. Problem solved.
Yeah, so Shepard gets remade, and then you get set out on a mission to recruit people and gain their loyalty and trust. So who was everyone's favorite person? And then I think we should talk about the loyalty missions. Like any standout characters and then standout missions.
So I'll say the two I used the most from just like a combat perspective were Grunt, who's just a meat wall. Like, you just can't kill the guy. And Garrus?
Yep, Garrus.
Those are my two guys until I got Legion, and then I replaced Garrus with Legion.
Entirely fair. What was your crew?
I also like Grunt. I just like Grunt because we'll probably cover everybody, but
he's simple, you know. Grunt's got a deal.
He's a simple guy. I also like. Let me look at the list. I did not like Jacob. I did not like Miranda. Sometimes I brought Tally. I also like Thane, who some people are very opinionated about on the internet. But I like him. I like Liara when you have her. We all only got her for one mission in this game. She's
very good in that mission.
But she's very good in that mission. And I usually romance her throughout the series, and this is the one where I'm like, where is my wife? And she's not in this one. I'm always very disappointed. But and Kasumi, of course. Kasumi's probably my favorite character next to Liara, even though she is a DLC character, and she's like sort of tacked on to everything else. But I like her.
I mean, her abilities are really good.
Yes.
My squad was also Grunt because he has the most HP and he has the good gun. He has access to the good guns and he has a ton of HP, and that's pretty good. And then I rotated between Kasumi. Early on, I had Kasumi because you can do her loyalty mission really early. So once she gets flashbang grenades, those are just really good. And then I use Miranda a lot because her Cerberus Tactician, or whatever the hell her like passive that increases her strength. Everyone has a ability that just like increases their stats. Hers increases the whole party's damage. So she's a nice like passive stat boost to everyone. So I had her in the party. And then I would also have Tali or Legion if I knew I was fighting tech enemies. Because they're just broken against those types of enemies. So yeah, that was my squad. In terms of the missions, I feel like Kasumi's is really good. Her loyalty mission.
Kasumi's is very good. Who else is really good? Zaid has one that is interesting at the very least. Although he is a dick to you the entire way through it. He's trying to get revenge on some guy who shot him in the face a long time ago, and you basically teach him either revenge is good or it is not the way.
Yep.
And
basically whichever thing you choose was the right choice.
Yes, pretty much. There's only one way to fuck that up, and he'll just basically die if you choose that, so you'll know if you choose wrong. Grunt's mission is very simple. Grunt is a simple guy, but he just wants to kill a worm.
Yeah, Grunt's whole mission is just kill more things.
Yeah.
And the things you don't kill, you headbutt.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that Grunt he's like a week old when you meet him.
Yep. Not
and
even.
Then, like,
you wake him up. He's minutes old when you meet him.
I mean, he was in the tube for like a week.
Well, yeah.
So, in the context of Mass Effect, when they say he's a pure Krogan, does that mean he's not affected by the genophage?
I think
Like,
that's
what's a
what's
pure
implied.
Krogan?
I believe the genophage affects Krogan females and makes a bunch of them not able to conceive.
Right.
Basically.
That's why I was confused what a pure Krogan is.
So what the Warlord or Kier, who made him, basically did a bunch of genetic experiments trying to make a pure Krogan. And by pure Krogan, he means it in like Ubermensch terms.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Like, this Krogan got the DNA from this Warlord who could kill people real good, and this Warlord who is really smart. You know, it was that. He's
the most Krogan.
Yes. He is the perfect Krogan, genetically perfect.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And when you talk to Okir, he's basically like, this grunt is
I like it.
this one grunt is worth a million
Mm-hmm.
inferior Krogans, for he is the Uber Krogan.
And so you're like, good, and then you take him.
Mine.
Mine
Yeah.
now.
And then you let him out of his tube, and he's like, I'm starting to feel things. Angry things.
He's a
And
good
you have
boy.
You have to help him get over puberty by killing a giant worm.
Yeah, Garrus basically just says, like, look, can't we just, like, hire a sex worker, a Krogan sex worker to take care of this? And they're like, no, only killing.
Mm-hmm.
I do like. Did y'all actually kill the Thresher Maw?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. You can beat that mission without killing it.
Really?
You can
Really?
just survive long enough and it'll go away.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
That's not
That's not what we're
Krogan
here
wants.
for.
Yeah.
But I like that when you kill them, there's an offhand remark that, like, Grunt now has like a dozen mating requests and Shepard has one.
Yep.
One of the Krogans is into Shepard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love it.
which is
You
really
don't
good.
you like never meet a female Krogan in Mass Effect 2, at
Not
least.
in 2.
Not in
There is
2. You
there
do
is
in
one
3.
in 3,
Okay.
and it's a very big deal.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, the Krogan, I really do like that mission. The loyalty mission for Kasumi, I think, is really good. Like seeing the Statue of Liberty's head
Mm-hmm.
in a vault, and like all the other cool stuff. And it's a fun spy mission. Like, oh, we need to infiltrate this room, and then it devolves into combat, like almost every mission does.
I like Samara's
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
exclusively for the romantic After Effects.
Yeah.
What?
Which After
What do you mean?
Effects?
So they're actually both pretty interesting, no matter who you pick to live. So Samara's loyalty mission is that it's actually a very, poignant and emotionally impactful one. I shouldn't make light of it. She's got a daughter, and her daughter is basically like in Samara's eyes, a monster, right? Anyone who mates with her daughter is basically killed instantly, and her daughter only gets stronger and wants to kill more people. So Samara is setting out to stop her. So basically what happens is...
It's basic instinct. It's a basic instinct situation.
Yeah, or what's that Scarlett Johansson movie? Whatever, doesn't matter. So basically, you have to seduce her daughter, and then it ends up in a big fight between Samara and I've forgotten her name.
Morinth.
Morin. Samara and Morin, and you get to pick who lives. And if you pick Morin, and then you put a little charm on her later, you get together with Morin. And everybody keeps telling you, no, you're going to die. Like, this is a bad idea. Don't do it. But Marin's like, no, you're totally going to survive. Like, you can do this. It'll be unimaginable pleasure, and only you can survive this, Captain Shepard, because you're special. And then you guys get together, and you die instantly.
You die immediately. There's
Just-
a game over screen.
Yep. Critical mission failure, full game over. You were warned, and
Yep.
I just decided I didn't believe the warnings. And I should have. I definitely should have.
Oh, so you actually had that happen to you?
I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Like, I had like save states ready to go
Mhm.
back to, but I was like, I'll roll the dice. I'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
is fun.
funny.
And I do love the relationship between, Morinth and Samara and their whole thing that, like, Samara had a kid, I guess pureblood Asari, so two Asaris that mate together. I create like there's a genetic chance that they're going to end up making an Ardat Yakshi, which is what Morinth is, which is a sex vampire, basically.
Mhm.
And all three of her kids are like the only known Ardat Yakshi in the world. And she
She's been
has
hunting
basically
for like 400 years.
she became a Justicar, which is like an Asari super cop, to go out into the world and hunt Morinth for 400 years because Morinth refused to just basically they send them to a farm upstate where they can't have sex with anything. Basically.
Sometimes that's a real thing,
Yeah.
as we discussed previously.
Yes. So she's basically been hunting Morinth, and if you decide to side with Samara and she kills Morinth, like the conversations with her are like, you're trying to console her, and she's like, Shepard, I've lived 1,000 years. You're not going to console me about killing my favorite daughter.
Shepard, you don't know anything. You're a 30-year-old human. Get out of here.
Yeah, basically. Though she eventually comes on to you because every female presenting character, if you're a male Shepard, will eventually come on to you.
But you can't get together because the Justicars are beholden to a very strict and specific code that prohibits such things.
Yep. Yeah, and Samara does tell you that as long as she's fighting for you, your orders supersede the code. But the second she's not fighting for you anymore, if you made her do anything that breaks the code, she'll kill you.
And she could too. She kills so many people so easily.
Yep. Yeah, her mission's cool. But I just really like, when Samara's talking about Morinth, she's talking about like, she was so independent, so clever, so smart, so creative. And she was the only person who refused to accept a life of seclusion. Like, I respect that to the end of all days, but she was a murderer and I couldn't let it stand, even though I, deeply empathize with her. Like, Samara is the most complicated character, I think. And it's a shame that because she's not a romance option, they kind of give her less to do than some of the other characters.
Yeah, she also like doesn't maybe it's like a virtue of the code, but like she didn't really seem to need much convincing either. Not that like any of them really put up much of a fight.
Yeah, that's true. She becomes loyal to you really easy. Her loyalty mission's the easiest. It's also the only one that isn't a giant combat mission, which I
Yeah, it's all
appreciate.
dialogue. Basically, it's kind of sinister too. Like you basically just like pick up little tidbits of information about Lauren and then lie to her to seduce her. But I guess if you're trying to stake a sex vampire, the ends justify the means.
Yeah, and other loyalty missions or missions that jump out to you? Did you have any that were favorites?
I was looking at the list of characters that we talked about and the ones we have not talked about yet. Special shoutouts to Morden.
Oh yeah, Morden. We need to talk about his whole
Yes.
mission.
We'll talk about Morden's whole thing.
I don't think I did Morden's. He's a scientist, right?
Yeah.
What? Oh
Yeah, I
boy,
think I
you
did
missed
that.
out then.
He's so good.
Okay.
Oh man, I'll have to double back.
Tally is also in this game again. She's very good.
Do you ever get to see her face?
In the third game, they do so you don't see it in a character model. There's a picture and it looks like shit.
Yeah. I don't know if they fixed that in the Legendary
That
Edition.
sucks.
Also, there's Jack, who is the biotic
Most-
science experiment.
Hers is intense.
Yeah.
She's the worst.
You don't like her?
I don't like her because she's written like
She's very abrasive.
she's an edgy teen.
She was put through a lot.
Is it like a function of her biotic powers that her outfit stays in place?
Yes.
Like
She's
it's
constantly-
3 belts.
She's using 1% of her brain power at all times to keep that from moving off of her nipples.
Smart. So I mean, it's a good use of her powers. Very productive.
Jack's a complicated character, and also one of the easiest ones to accidentally have die during this suicide mission.
Hers has like at least some interesting things to say about memory too. Like as you're like her loyalty mission is basically go back to the facility where she was kept and presumably tortured as a child to bring out her bionic powers. But like as she's going through, she says like, you know, things aren't really the way I seem. Like things aren't the way I remember them. This isn't right. It was different than this. And Shepard's basically like can basically be like, look, you were a child. Like you're not going to remember right. But it's never questioned like whether or not she's making the right decision. I mean, at the end, it's, you know, child torture.
Yeah. You nuke that facility from orbit if she remembers it perfectly or not.
Yeah,
But,
they're not coming back from that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like her loyalty mission, but so many times before her loyalty mission, they give her lines like, "I'm a badass psionic bitch," and it's like, what? Oh boy,
It's like
Jack.
this is your workplace. Like we are your coworkers.
Not just the we are your coworkers, but just like the type of character they're going for. They just go so hard into it, and it's so cringy. A lot of the times, her dialogue.
It suffers from being written by BioWare.
Yes.
If it was by anyone else, probably wouldn't be so bad, but they don't know how to write certain characters, but they really want to.
They endlessly want to make a tough girl. She's like tough, but like sexy. So she's covered in tattoos and wears a belt for a top.
What if she had no hair?
Damn, that'd be so radical.
That'd be crazy.
Ear piercings, but not in the spots you expect.
All right, who else
She
we
does
got?
drugs. Can we talk
Everyone
about
does
Morden some?
Sure. Let's talk about Morden. Morden
Yeah,
has
so-
a lot more to do in Game 3,
If
but
he lives.
he's still pretty good in this one.
Yeah, you really want him to live.
hmm
It's very easy to get him killed in the suicide mission, even if
Yep.
you do everything right. So Morden, I mean, his first mission, you find him working on Omega, which is the like club planet in Mass Effect 2, and he's like trying to save people from a plague. And you help him save people from the plague, but he's a doctor, and also like at one point people show up to try and take his patients away, and he just kills them. So he was like a former Solarian special ops soldier. So he's a soldier and a scientist, like one of the most brilliant medical minds in the world. But also he will kill people if they're going to hurt people. And he enhanced he fixed the genophage, is what he did. So the genophage that affects the Krogans was starting to weaken, which was meaning that the Krogan population, like the Krogan biological system, was adapting to it and allowing them to reproduce normally again. And so he spent years, I think years, studying the genophage, tweaking it to make it back to the level of effectiveness that it was before. And his loyalty mission is one of his former apprentices who worked with him on the special ops team has gone missing on Tachanka, which is the planet of the Krogan. And he thinks a Krogan has basically kidnapped this person to try and cure the genophage. So when you go back to Tachanka, you try to find Morden's student, and he's holed up with a clan, I think Clan Werlock, and they are basically providing him Krogan to experiment on this student so that he can try and find a cure for the genophage. So you find a bunch of corpses of female Krogans who were experimented on. You find a member of Rex's clan who was getting shot up with drugs, and he was full of tumors because he was getting experimented on. And he basically says, no, you need to let me stay so they can do more experiments on me because I'm not strong, I'm not special, but if I die to cure the genophage, then my life had meaning. And the whole way across the way, you're talking to Morden about whether the morality of the disease he made is right, basically. You're basically showing him bodies and saying, look at the suffering you caused. How can you be okay with what you did? And him trying to justify what he did to you over and over and over again. Pete, did you have any questions about like the genophage or any of that stuff? Because I know you haven't played this game before.
No, I'll be honest, I did cheat a little bit. So there are plenty of Mass Effect wikis on there. So I got about, I'm going to say, 2 minutes into the first cutscene at the beginning of the game. And I was like, I have a billion questions. Who are these people? What are the Geth? What are the Reapers? What's going on here? And I know we played this, but it was so long ago that I basically just read everything. So the Genophage 2, it's basically an analog to, there's a famous sci-fi book called Ringworld, where a more advanced species finds a more belligerent one and basically genetically engineers them to be more docile. So I had analogs.
Okay, yeah. So that's, and basically the backstory is that the Krogan are, like you said, they're found by the Solarians, or I think the Solarians, and they're found to be super strong. So the Solarians give them space travel and guns to fight the Rachni, which are these race of bug creatures.
Yeah, space spiders.
Yeah, space roaches, and the Krogan kill them because they're space frogs. And then the Krogan start rebelling because they're stronger than all the other races in terms of like physical prowess. They've got redundant everything because their planet's garbage. And so they would have beaten all of the other races at war, or at least caused massive casualties. So the Solarians inflicted basically a plague on them that makes it hard for them to reproduce, so that they couldn't have the numbers to actually fight properly. And Morden's answer is always like, the answer was either do this or we would have had to kill all of the Krogan. So it would have been a genocide either way. I chose the genocide that allowed these people to survive instead of the genocide where we wiped them out with guns. So actually, I made the right call here, because a war with the Krogan, it's basically the justification that the U.S. school system tells you about the dropping the atomic bomb on Japan. Like, we had to do that to prevent further skirmishes, and the skirmishes would have cost more lives than dropping an atomic bomb or two would have.
Really?
Yeah,
We chose the nicer option by
I would have liked to
sterilizing them.
So, like, Shepard has a chance. Like, that sort of argument by Morn is a very sort of consequentialist one, right? Like,
Yes.
I tallied up the number of people who would have died, and I picked the lower number. Later on, Shepard has a similar sort of decision to make, where the Geth, you can either, like, kill a whole bunch of Geth or reprogram them to, like, no longer support the Reapers. And one of the, like, conversation options that Shepard gets is a very deontological, rule-based one, where like he can basically just say like, no, programming, like indoctrination is always wrong, doesn't matter. I mean, does he make any of that sort of discussion with Morin? Like, does he come back and say like, look, your ethical system is flawed?
Yeah, Morden. I mean, when you talk to Morden about what he did, there's a lot of like, yeah, you saved these people's lives, but look, you enacted a cultural genocide on them. They're constantly at war with each other. These people are fixated on the fact that they can't reproduce. You've basically doomed them to infighting and cost countless lives. Like, doesn't that damage count too? Not just the raw calculus of how many bodies there are. And Morden will be like, yeah, I didn't consider that, but I still would have done what I did.
Mm-hmm. He can't change his mind until the third
Game 3.
game. Yeah.
They need content.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah, but in game 2, I mean, you eventually like find his apprentice, and his apprentice was working to undo the genophage of his own free will. And he's basically like, Morden, we committed cultural genocide. Like, you need to get. I realized this was terrible what we did. Why are you still lying to yourself, saying we did the right thing? And Morden's just like, no, consequentialism. It was all fine. And actually, I should kill you, student, for studying this at all, so that no one will study how to fix this. You can stop him, or you can not. And then you could basically choose whether to keep the genophage research or destroy it. Like, that's the big choice for Morden. But it's a cool situation. Like, he afflicted this terror on these people, and basically he had apparently been going back to Tachanka every few years to see what he had done, because he couldn't just set a bomb and then not live with the consequences. So he'd been routinely going
like
back.
As a penance?
He was going there to make sure that nothing changed with his disease, that it never got worse for them and it never got better. So he was just always going back to check in on things. Which, I mean, like, it's real. It's the sort of it's a complex moral quandary, but it's the sort of moral quandary that can only happen for a powerful oppressor. You know? Like, he can choose that penance because he had a choice, whereas the people he inflicted his disease on never had any agency in the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just a luxury to just be able to go back. Like, that's a position of power in and of itself, that they can't just be like, no, why are you here? Leave.
Yep, because he's a spy, and they can't detect him because they don't have good technology, because he ruined their culture. Yeah, it's interesting. After the events of his loyalty mission, like, you go back to the ship, talk to him, and he says some stuff about the loyalty mission, and then he says, yeah, I went through the stages of grief, but since we Solarians have really short lifespans, I'm over it now. I've moved on. Like,
feeling pretty good now.
Feeling good now. I'm fine. Let's focus on the collectors. I'm over it.
On to other things.
And if you do his loyalty mission, you find out about his past, his literary past.
Mm-hmm.
Literary
As
past?
an actor.
He's an actor.
Yep.
Oh.
He sings a song for you if you ask him to.
Is he good?
What was the song?
Scientist Solarian.
Yeah. Based on an actual performance?
It's not Simon. Is it Simon and Schuster? He said he does a lot of pitter patter songs.
Simon and Schuster, publishers.
That's not the one then. Let me look up which playwright.
Scientist Solarian was the very model of a Scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian.
Yeah, okay. It's that song about the dude in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn it. Which damn... Oh, it's going to bother me so much which playwright he was supposed to be.
All right.
I'll look at it.
Looking this up.
Yeah, find it, but while we're looking. Oh, Gilbert and Sullivan.
There you
There
go.
we go.
2 names.
An alternate version of the Major General's song.
Major General, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so he did a lot of that stuff. Yeah. Did y'all do Jacob's loyalty mission?
Jacob's loyalty mission is
It's fucked up.
I remember this more than most, and I don't think I like it still.
Is it? I mean, Gino, you said it's fucked up. Is it interesting? Because Jacob's not.
It's more interesting than Jacob.
Yes.
His dad was like a second in command on a ship, and the ship crashes, and it basically went. It was supposed to be his dad went away for smokes and then never came back, and it turns out that his ship crashed on a planet 10 years ago, and a distress beacon just gets broadcast out, and so you go out to find the broadcast, expecting to find a bunch of corpses because the ship crashed, and then when you get there, it turns out people are alive, but the plants on the planet make you lose your memory. It impairs your higher level cognitive function. So basically all the people are caveman status. They can't form complete sentences. They're going to war with each other. They're battling. And it turns out all of the officers on the ship saved all of the rations and untainted food for themselves. They gave all of the women and normal people and non-officers the tainted food, making them dumb and pliable. Then they traded all of the women around as sex slaves and
That's grim.
sent all of the men away or used them as bodyguards. And basically, Jacob's dad is the dictator of this land of fools, enforced by the fact that he is the only one with good food left. And he has robots. He has those security drones, and so they kill all the dumb people who oppose him.
Grim.
It's real grim.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
First of all, is this a reference to something?
I want to say yes, but I don't know what.
Yes,
I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm willing to bet there are more than one sci-fi stories with this basic premise.
Yes.
I couldn't tell them to you offhand.
The name of the ship that Jacob's father was on is the Hugo Gernsback, who is claimed to be the man who invented science fiction. So if it was any story, I feel like it would be one of his.
He had a very famous, he's the guy that the Hugo Awards are named after.
Oh.
He had a very famous science fiction magazine, I think, that used to publish stories all the time. I don't nobody
Amazing
reads
stories.
Yes.
Yep.
They were truly amazing. I don't think anyone reads much of his stuff anymore, if he had stuff, but I'm sure he has some.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of it, Jacob, because he's the goody two shoes character of Cerberus of the human supremacists. He basically arrests his dad because he's a space cop.
Yep.
Or I don't know if you can have him kill his dad, but either way, I think you can just be more or less rude to his dad when you're arresting him, I guess. But it's fucked up. It sucks. His dad sucks.
Yeah, he's this is one of those missions that I was man, this was fucked up. That I remember it 10 years after I first played it, and it's still pretty bad.
Yeah. Miranda's loyalty mission is just she has a genetic clone
Miranda's
sister.
So boring.
She is very boring.
And she's got a clone sister, and you need to save her clone sister from her dad, who's mean. Were there any other? I mean, Legions is cool, like you said, Pete.
Oh, yeah.
You have to decide whether you reprogram the Geth who fought against you in the first game or kill them. What did you feel about that one?
I mean, I was Paragon ship, so I felt I should reprogram them, but that seemed like a dangerous decision. And indoctrination. Also, so the Geth aren't individuals, so what do they care?
Well, they're assemblages of programs that reach conclusions by consensus, and Legion basically says Geth are the only difference between Geth is perspective. They have the same programming, but depending on what they've seen, they will come to different conclusions until they get together and network, at which point they will share all their experiences and then come to the same conclusion again. So by reprogramming these Geth, and basically he describes it as like the heretics who worship the Reapers. The reason they worship the Reapers instead of hate them is because of like a low-level programming glitch, basically. Like their software makes something that should equal like 1.1 equal 1.2.
Yeah.
And then it causes all higher level decisions to be different. And he says that like if we reprogram them, they will have the memory of before they were reprogrammed, and then they will link up with everyone else, and everyone will remember what it was like to be programmed. So that seems bad. That seems dangerous. But yeah, that's apparently the good option. That's the Paragon option.
It definitely seemed dangerous, but I did it to get my Paragon points.
The alternative is what? Killing all of them? So
Killing all of them.
yeah. I mean, really not much of a choice. And also, I think we should talk about Legion, because if you played the first one, Legion's like one of the coolest squad members to gain.
Yeah.
Legion is a Geth, which was the enemy that you were fighting the whole way through the first game. And you go and try to get a Reaper IFF, which you need to get through the Mass
Omega 4
Effect
relay.
Yes,
The
exactly.
relay that sends you to the end of the game.
Yep. To enter the endgame state, you need this thing. And so Legion is like helping you all along the way and has like a N7 thing on it, and Legion's just rad. And also is a sniper, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's always nice to have snipers around.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Legion's the only Geth who can speak
yes.
English,
Mm-hmm.
so it can actually talk to you, which is cool.
Yep.
And Legion kind of shows some individuality, kind of, despite the fact that it's, I guess, a assemblage of programs at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I feel like we should cover just real quick, like, there's a couple of things that are cool that were DLC. Most of it we can skip. The Lair of the Shadow Broker, really good. You get that Liara mission. It's cool to meet the Shadow Broker, who's like this information dealer character. I mean, he's a giant. You fight on a giant ship in a lightning storm, in a dust storm. It's really cool. Liara's cool.
It has one of the coolest ending fights of any of the DLCs.
Yeah, you fight a big Hulk guy and tries to kill you, and it's a fun fight. It's just you and Liara, basically. When you beat that mission, Liara becomes the Shadow Broker, and you get access to like details about all of your characters' like backgrounds. You get their browser history, basically. Did either of you read Tali's browser history?
I did.
I didn't read Tally's. I do remember Legions though, which is very.
What's Legions?
Legion, it's something like Legion was a gamer basically. Legion would go on to like, I guess play multiplayer games. I don't know what games they have in Mass Effect universe, but they were so good because they could just like interface with the system that they kept getting banned. And it's just a series of like banned from this game. And then Legion goes and is like, please let me back in. And they're like, no, you're too good. People are mad at you. Which I found very funny. What is Tally's?
Tally's is basically, so she's hot for Shep. She's down bad. She's horny on main.
Wish that were me.
So,
Tally does not care at all for FemShow.
no. So Tally's whole thing is about like basically how to get down with Shep. Both like protect herself and a bunch of nerve stimulation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She keeps installing and uninstalling nerve stimulators into her suit so that, and watching Fleet and Flotilla, which is about human Quarian dating and relationships. She keeps downloading and undownloading that. Yeah, it's very funny. She downloads Nerve Stimulator Pro and like gets antibiotics so that she can boost up her immunity. It's a whole thing.
It's really
She's down bad.
there's a lot to do when you are in a suit that if you take it off you will die.
Yeah, and she when she comes on to Mail Chef, she's like, yeah, so Quarians, we like the most intimate thing we can do is link our suit environments with someone so that it's possible for us to like make contact with each other without dying.
Mhm.
So that's a thing that our kind do. And Shepard's like, oh, is it possible to do that with a different species? And she's like, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it'd be cool. I don't know if we did that.
I wouldn't know. I haven't done any research into that.
Later on, when she like gets with him too, she comes to her room and she's like, "So I've been taking a lot of antibiotics and drinking herbal tea." And Chef's just like, "Yeah, that'll do it," and then takes off her mask.
Oh.
There's like no thought given.
And then afterwards, she will be sick
Yeah.
if you talk to her later.
Why do they have to stay in those suits? Is it just like an environment thing?
Yeah, the environment on their
explains
home
it.
planet is so different from like every other species that they have to be in the suits, otherwise they will not be able to like they have very low tolerance for diseases. So if they
Yeah,
get like any cold, they'll die.
their explanation or her explanation is that on their homeworld, many of the fauna and viruses and bacteria were evolved to be symbiotic instead of antagonistic.
Oh, okay.
And so most of the bacteria and viruses that you would catch would actually make you better. Like they would help you in some way. And so their immune system was designed to help foster that relationship instead of destroy it. And so whenever they get exposed to exterior environments, they don't work like that. And so they just get massacred basically because their immune system was designed to work the exact opposite way every other immune system was. And so that's why their home world's so important. It's like the only world that's like that. So their immune systems might be able to adjust within a lifetime to living on their home world without suits, but any other planet would take generations to adjust. And so Quarians have like a human-esque lifespan. So they're much more obsessed with getting back to their home planet than anything else because that's the only way they could see living outside of their suits. Yeah, so Shadow Broker, really good. The Overlord DLC is a piece of shit.
Real bad. What about the Overlord DLC is so bad, Gino?
Pete, did you
All
play
of
this
it?
one?
No, I didn't even bother.
Oh, way to go.
Good.
Way
I
to
make solid
go.
life choices sometimes.
So the Overlord DLC is about a rogue VI that gets loose on this Cerberus base that
What
was
is a
researching
VI?
virtual intelligence. AIs are
Okay.
supposed to be VIs are
Outlawed.
basically VIs are like they're fancy programs. AIs can think for themselves.
Yeah.
Got it.
So this rogue VI, which it shouldn't be an AI, but it's behaving like an AI, takes over this Cerberus facility and is like hacking everything. You talk to the researcher there, and he says, "Yeah, so we did an experiment to try and meld a human with a VI in the hopes of controlling the Geth. So
Smart.
basically,
How could that go wrong?
we were going to make a person who could talk to the Geth for us because no humans can talk to the Geth. So the way he did this
Oh boy.
was his autistic brother.
Even better. Just keeps headed in the right direction.
We found an autistic savant who we could plug into a computer and filled him full of tubes, and now he's in a computer. Nothing bad is
and-
going to happen.
Yeah, let me guess. He's not super stoked on it. No.
Well, so you see, there's a couple of things. First off, the main scientist says, in many ways, my autistic brother's mind is as foreign to me as any alien mind. So, in a way,
Good
it's
start.
And then you see his brother can talk to the Geth by making beepy boopy sounds, and the Geth respond to him. And he says he's a mathematic genius. He's like a human. His autistic mind is like a human computer. You see, we should put him in the machine because what could go wrong? It's
Hey.
probably what he wants.
Hey, BioWare. BioWare, I just want to talk.
Quick sidebar.
This is now the second time they've done this, by the way.
What was the first time?
In Dragon Age, they also have the character Sandal, who you might remember, who is clearly coded as autistic, very good with enchantments, is his whole thing. Did not plug him into a computer, luckily. They didn't get that far with it.
Oh, right. The one who just goes enchantment.
Yes, exactly.
That character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So twice is
It's a pattern.
A little sketchy there, BioWare.
Pete, could you just do me a favor and look up
Sure.
Mass Effect 2 Overlord? Look at the image of the character
Yeah.
of this brother.
Typing it in now.
It'll come up.
You'll know.
You'll know.
Oh, that
Mm-hmm.
that's. I wish you hadn't have told me to look at that.
Yeah, so it's basically a Clockwork Orange situation. They have his eyes
That
pried
is
open and
horrible.
tubes down his mouth, and he's in the crucifix pose.
Did this
And
to his
he's-
brother?
He's stuck in a machine, and no one can understand him screaming in pain because they're like, what is the VI even saying? And all the brother says for the most part is like, the square root of this is this, the square root of this is this. And when you beat this DLC, when you get to the end, the final decision is, do you leave David, who's this autistic man, with his brother, because this VI experiment is too important to care about the life of one autistic man? Or do you send him away to a school for specially gifted kids, where he can go not be attached to a machine?
Do you find out the punchline to this in this game, or is it in 3?
3. It's in 3.
Okay. Which would you pick of these options, Pete?
These are the
Oh
two choices.
man,
Oh, and if
Just
you're wondering if
choice,
at any
but-
point you ask David what he wants, no.
No.
why would you? Okay, so here's what I would say. Obviously, I'm not leaving this kid with his abusive brother. This is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, even if the experiment were more important, which it's not, doesn't seem like the experiment's going well anyway.
It's not. It's going very poorly.
Yeah.
The only reason he decided to do this, the brother, is because they're working for Cerberus, and the elusive man is like, you haven't produced anything. You need to hurry up and like find a way to control the Geth. And then he's like, I don't know, maybe this'll do it.
Let's
Fucks.
throw autism at the problem.
Yeah, let's fuck up my brother real bad.
Yeah, the game handles this as poorly as I am describing. It is not introspective about any of this. It doesn't think any of what's going on. It thinks this is a interesting moral quandary instead of a fucking disgusting
human
scenario.
rights violation.
Human rights violation. It doesn't care about the brother. The brother is a prop. If you want to read anything about this whole thing, there was a great article on Waypoint. Mass Effect 2 Overlord should have stayed in 2010, talking about why the hell they even brought this.
I mean, 2010, like that's
Yeah, it
That's
was bad
recent.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's by M. Wesley Alvey. Check that out if you want to learn more about exactly how bad this is and why, in a way that is well more considered and articulated than what we've said here. But yeah, this is gross. Don't play it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Also,
It's just a bummer. It is morally pretty despicable. It doesn't have anything interesting to say. It's not even that fun. Like, it's super long. It's not good. Just don't. Just don't. And then I think we should just quickly, the suicide mission. How did it go for everyone?
I had everybody survive. So,
Um,
yay for
Way
me.
to go.
yeah, I've played it enough times that I know who goes where, so I had no problems.
I had Morden die because I forgot that if Morden's
Oh,
not in
no.
your party or sent somewhere to escort people back to the ship, he'll just die, even if you have a completely loyal party.
Really? Is that
Um,
true?
He'll uh he could also not die if you leave like your best fighters behind. So like if I'm sure if I didn't have Grunt in my party and instead took someone shitty, like physically not that strong like Tali, or Morden, he would have survived. But I goofed. It's fine. I can just reload the save if I want to save him.
Yeah. So we should actually talk about the structure a little bit on the suicide mission, because there's
Yeah.
so much stuff that goes into it. There's a whole chart. I put it into the Discord so we could all look at it. Pete, you don't have to look at it if you don't want to.
It's good. I hate charts.
Okay. I mean, you just don't like the Discord, which is why I
That's
excuse
true
you.
as well.
So there's a check on the approach. There's 3 checks. It checks your armor on the ship, it checks the shields, and it checks the weapons. And if the armor is not upgraded, Jack will die. The shield, if the shields are not upgraded, a bunch of people in an order, randomly selected, I assume, die. And then in the weapons check, someone else can die. And then when you get to the base, there's the vents. Who'd you send into the vents?
Tally.
Good choice.
I sent Kasumi.
They
Good
said they needed a
choice.
tech person. So.
Yeah, I sent Legion. So that's the 3 that are the best possible choices, and they'll survive if they go in. Then there's a biotic needed to do a walk through a bunch of like fucking bees.
She's basically your human bug zapper.
Yeah, you just need someone to project a shield for a little bit. Best possible choices are Jack, Samara, or Morinth, depending on who you have. I chose Jack.
I chose Samara.
Okay.
I chose Jack.
Yep. And then there's another fire team. There's 3 main choices. Miranda, Jacob, or Garrus can run the second fire team. If Jacob or Garrus are loyal, they'll survive. Miranda will just fucking do it, because she's just that good. She doesn't care if she's loyal. And then there's an escort mission. You need someone to escort the surviving crew from the Normandy, because it got body snatched. We forgot to mention that. There's conditions to how many of the crew survived. Did everyone survive?
For me, yes, because I went immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you go immediately, then everyone survives. If you do a mission, then half the crew dies. And then you send a crew member with them back to the ship, and they'll be fine. Or if you aren't like fully loyal, they'll die, and everyone dies. And then there's a fight, and then we fight the big Reaper robot.
Yeah, it's basically just like a big skeleton
Yeah.
made of metal.
This is kind of like par for the course for games of this era, I think, where it's just like floating platform, giant boss in front of you.
Yeah. And it sucks. Like so the collectors are like these bug people, they're kidnapping people, and they're gooing them up to make a human Reaper, because that's how the Reapers reproduce. They find a species that they like, they turn them into goo and make them into AI machine.
Yeah, very
human hybrids.
Very Matrix.
Yeah. So they put everyone into big juicers, and then you kill this giant Terminator-looking thing by shooting its glowing weak points.
Oh,
because it's 2010.
I forget, if you come late, like if you do a mission before you get to the hideout, you will actually see some of your crewmates go through this process. In a
R.I.P.
tube.
Kelly Chambers.
Yeah, They will be screaming in a tube. I did not play this part. I just remember it because it was so viscerally awful. I remember it 10 years later.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's the named character from the planet that you save.
Vermeer?
Horizon.
Oh,
Horizon, I think. When you go to Horizon and save some of the colonists, the one named colonist gets turned to goo in front of you if you get there fast enough. But yeah,
So
I
that's
mean,
fun.
this game kind of ends with a fart, unfortunately. Just
think
the
so?
final boss fight. I think the boss fight. And then you have to decide whether to destroy the collector base or kill everyone in it and then turn it over to Cerberus. And I don't know, why would you ever trust the elusive man with fucking anything?
Yeah, he's clearly evil. Like, he's a shadowy figure in some distant world you don't know where it is, standing in front of a sun, constantly chain smoking.
With
Like,
blue eyes.
What is reputable about this man?
Voiced by Martin Sheen.
Yeah, that was a good get. Martin Sheen did a
Yeah.
good job.
He did. But you can't trust that guy.
Oh, no, you don't trust that guy at all.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to give the most advanced technology in the universe to this fucking guy.
Yeah,
he
why not?
betrays you like 3 times during the game.
Yeah.
And every time you're like, why the fuck did you do that? And he's like, because fuck you. You don't even know. You don't know what's going on.
And Shep's like, word. Good point.
You are elusive, man.
You fucking revived me to do this. Why can't you tell me anything? You went to a lot of trouble to make a shepherd, and then you're not going to tell Shepherd anything? Ridiculous.
Well, what's up, dog?
Listen, elusive man here.
Is this a X-Files reference, by the way?
I
To
assumed
the
so.
Smoking Man. I thought
Probably.
it was. I don't know. I don't know if
If
there's
when in doubt, this is a
documentation.
reference.
Yep.
I just had one more note on this game.
Mhm.
The dialogue of this game, I know it's before the Avengering and the Joss Whedoning of the world, but this game's dialogue is very wink-wink. Like, all of the overheard dialogue you have, like, going through the world. Like, there's one section on the Citadel where there's a game salesman who's talking about trading in games and buying game insurance, who's like a futuristic GameStop employee. There's people like this.
When I think futuristic companies, I think GameStop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you think there's like characters debating humans dating Quarians and whether that would work out because there was dialogue in the world about why Shepard couldn't date Tali in the first game. Everything's wink and a nod. And I found it too cute by a half. Like, the first game takes its lore very seriously, and the second game is like a popcorn flick. And you can kind of feel the changing of the tide from like a serious sci-fi to, a Marvel movie. I mean, it predates most of the Marvel movies, but it feels like a Marvel movie.
I have bad news about Mass Effect 3. If you don't like that.
I know. It's an interesting. You can see it happening in real time in this game.
True.
The change of dialogue writing style. Yeah, and I think that just about covers it. And it is great. One good part about that writing change is telling every single store on the Citadel that you're Commander Shepard, and this is your favorite shop on the Citadel.
This is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. Deep listens.
It's my favorite podcast in all of Venezuela.
Yes. I just really like every time you go into every store on the Citadel after you endorse them, it just says your little blurb, and they all sound the same.
So funny. I think you do that once in the first game, and then they're like, hell yeah, that's a thing now.
Yep.
To your point about the Marvelification of the dialogue.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that covers it for Mass Effect 2. We'll wait another 5 years, and then we'll play Mass Effect 3.
Perfect.
Yay.
So we can forget what happened in 2.
Exactly. We can forget we have saves and start from scratch.
Right. All right. So I think that means, Pete, it is now your turn to pick once again.
Tis. So I've honestly got quite a few options here. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a few choices. We could do a very cute game. We could do a puzzle game. We could do an acclaimed physics game. We could do a not cute grim game. Or we could do a game that I cannot attest to its quality, but it does say mean things about communism. So ZP will like it.
You know, I feel like we should throw ZP that bone at some point.
It's also, right now, it's 70% off. So
Oh, well.
I don't know if ZP would like that or not.
Are any
I
of
like
these
that.
playable on a Switch or?
They are, Gino, for your benefit, I can say they are all playable on Switch.
Okay, good. And where are you leaning on this?
Well, it is the year of bangers. Are any very good?
Ooh, that is a good question that I do not have an answer
Okay.
That's the
to.
best
So
answer.
I refuse to attest to any of their quality.
Okay.
So I can say a few of them are award-winning.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not these award presenters know anything is another question.
Gotcha. Okay, so the options are a cute game, a puzzle game.
Cute game. Yep.
What
We
was the
got
rest?
cute game, grim game, puzzle game, physics game, mean about communism game.
That's so many options.
I know.
It's like 5 games.
That's 5. It's exactly 5 games, yeah.
Gino, do you have any
Eileen-
preference?
I lean cute. So part of me says we haven't done a cute game in a while.
It's true.
Another part of me says we haven't done a puzzle game in a hot minute.
Also true.
Another part of me says we haven't done a game that's like communism is bad in a while.
I don't think ever, honestly.
We did
Well,
some
I-
communism
Papers,
is
Please.
good.
Papers, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of capitalism as bad games.
Yes.
All right.
I have one of those too.
No, don't add more to the list. We need to narrow it down.
Yeah, and I don't think I've Grimdark. I think I'm good on for right
Yeah.
now, and physics puzzles. Yeah,
The communism game is also grim, obviously.
of course it is. Okay.
So let's tell you what, we'll go cute. We can go cute puzzles or cute management.
We haven't played a management game in a very long time, if at all,
I'm okay with a management game.
other than Prison
Okay.
Architect, which is
Not
Fuck.
cute at all.
Was
Fuck
not
that.
cute.
One of the most reprehensible games we've played for
True.
the podcast. All right, let's do cute management then.
Okay.
pinata.
Then
go.
for next week's podcast, we are going to play Bear and Breakfast.
Huh, I have not heard of this game.
You are a bear who's running a bed and breakfast.
That's amazing.
Bear and breakfast.
And it is available on Switch
Oh,
and Steam.
this does look cute.
Oh, I have heard about this. Okay, I saw a quick look of this game, I think. This looks cute. Bear.game is their website.
It's a great URL.
All right,
Okay.
excellent. Well, next up, we're playing Bear and Breakfast. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, it was exciting to talk about a sequel to a game I did not remember.
Excellent. Thank you, Em.
Thank you. Always good to play one of my favorite BioWare games, ? Certainly one of those BioWare games I like.
One of the most BioWare games.
Indeed.
And thank you, dear listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. And you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. And if you're in a position to do so, please do donate to the National Network of Abortion Funds. Till next time, peace.